The Battlefield franchise is interesting. It certainly has its ups and downs. For example, Hardline seems like a disappointing game with unused potential. And then there's something like Battlefield 3, which is the best game to most fans of the franchise. Of course, there are the two latest Battlefield games, 1 and 5. However, I can't say that these games bring me the same satisfaction as the modern war ones do. What is Battlefield to me personally? Guns, tanks, helicopters, jets, quad bikes with C4 on them. I miss these things in Battlefield 1 or 5. Yes, I know there are tanks and planes, but they're very different and don't feel as good. The World War theme is interesting, but it has its shortcomings. You can't exactly make good vehicle gameplay because war machines in those times were pretty bad. And I like vehicle gameplay more than infantry, so I consider Battlefield 3 and 4 way better than the new ones. This may be in reverse to most people, but while I really enjoyed Battlefield 3, to me the best one is Battlefield 4. If you learn to be good at it, this game just feels so satisfying. Like when you're dominating in a tank or a helicopter, if you've been there, you understand me. Probably all of you know that Battlefield is a first person shooter, but it has something amazing in it: military vehicle gameplay. Released in 2013, the game continued to get updates for about 2 years. And when I say updates, I mean real updates, not just some skins or something like that. But more about that later. Created after Battlefield 3, the game didn't really change that much from the previous title, but that is actually a good thing. And even though I say it didn't change that much, I actually mean the setting and style. Some things are straight out of Battlefield 3, but there were some major changes to the gameplay. Let's start with the single player campaign. There's not much to say here. Clearly, the developer's focus wasn't here because the campaign is short and not that interesting or deep. Consequently, I'm not going to talk about it. It's literally 7 missions. The one good thing about them is that if you found a weapon, it would be unlocked in multiplayer. The campaign is just screaming that Battlefield 4 is not a single player game. And we arrive at the main selling point: multiplayer. Let me just say, I absolutely love Conquest and Rush. Well, these two game modes were the most played while others faded into obscurity. Conquest is your classic stay on a flag until it changes to your color mode, and Rush is very chaotic, extremely compressed game mode where one team tries to destroy two objectives while the other team defends it. When both of the objectives are destroyed, you move on to the next two objectives. I like how different these two are. On Conquest, you can camp, flank the enemy, hide, and simply put, you have space to work with. It's very tactical. Rush, on the other hand, is pure chaos. Usually one path of approach, no flanking, no hiding. You just have to use smoke grenades, use your numbers to push through. The only tactic here? Use smokes. It's your only saving grace if you're an attacker. While this chaos is usually enjoyable, at times it becomes frustrating. I believe all maps were created for Conquest, so Rush doesn't really work for some of them. For example, Silk Road or Lost Islands are extremely tedious when playing attacker on Rush. If you have a good defensive team, you usually can't even get the first objective because the second you come out of spawn, you're getting targeted by 10 different rockets. But what about the gameplay itself? Well, there are guns, tanks, infantry fighting vehicles, anti-air tanks, boats, helicopters, and jets. Note, Rush usually has no vehicles except a few maps and only in certain stages. Every vehicle works pretty well with each other. For example, a tank can easily beat an IFV, but it doesn't mean that the IFV can't win the fight. It all depends on skill and your loadouts. Of course, a tank can't win against a helicopter, but if an AA vehicle sees the heli, it's dead within seconds. A very important thing here is team play. If one area is weak, for example your team doesn't have a good AA player, the other team will demolish yours with jets or helicopters. Which is why when I see my teammate constantly dying in a AA tank, I'll get it and try to balance the scales because I consider myself a good vehicle and especially AA player. Yet again, I can't completely praise the vehicle balance in this game. On some maps, the AA feels absolutely OP because it shoots far and does insane damage to air vehicles, making them virtually useless. This is so annoying because piloting a helicopter or your jet is so much fun, but 90% of the time, it's ruined by a good AA player. Sometimes map design is at fault here, but I believe the AA tank should have been universally nerfed. I mean, when I enter it, I usually do 50 kills, 0 deaths, which isn't exactly good. Every other vehicle is pretty well balanced though, and you can do 100 kills with them on certain maps, but I wouldn't call any of them overpowered. Yeah, the attack heli or attack jet might seem very powerful, yet they do take a lot of skill, so I'm not really mad when they're dominating. And usually there's an AA to shoot them down. Let's talk about guns though. There's a wide variety of them, and each is quite different from the other. Each class has their own specialty. Assault have assault rifles, engineers have PDWs, support have light machine guns, and recons have sniper rifles. All classes also share carbines, shotguns, and DMRs. Everyone can find some gun they like, and every class have their own equipment. Assault class is basically medics, support class provide ammo, engineers are played on big conquest maps where vehicles are the focus, and snipers can play pretty much anywhere. Talking about equipment, there are some things that should not exist. Take any grenade launcher, it ruins every rush map and close quarters conquest map because it becomes explosion spamming. Servers have to ban these loadout items themselves, and so we have arrived at my most hated feature of all, lock-on items. Those are SOFLAM, PLD, Javelin, and pretty much every vehicle has the loadout slot for a lock-on device. I'm excluding Stingers because it is a good way to fight jets even though they can easily avoid the rockets. They still have to wait for their flares to replenish though. Boom! You're driving a tank and from 500 meters someone is locking onto you. That's awesome. Or you're playing Silk Road and you're getting locked onto by 5 different things so you die instantly. Love that. Lock-on as a feature should be sent to another dimension, except Stingers. It's not needed, it doesn't require skill, and it ruins some maps. Without that, players actually have to aim their rockets, and it's awesome. It requires skill and tactics. If you want to destroy a tank with infantry, a squad can spawn, shoot 5 rockets, and the tank is dead. Simple, and no javelins are needed for that. That reminds me, I really enjoy the squad mechanic. It consists of 5 people who can spawn on each other. Usually you all travel around together, heal each other, play gunner for each other. I don't know, it's just really interesting to me. It's a very good buddy system. And so we come to content. There are 33 maps, of which only 13 come from the basic version. Yeah, it has 5 expansions, but they're very big and full of content. Of course, buying them separately is the worst financial decision you can make. Let me tell you how to buy a Battlefield game. Wait for 1 month after release, see a sale for premium edition, it's usually like 60 euros. Buy it and you'll have everything. You get a game with 5 expansions for a normal price then. Okay, what did I say in the beginning? The game is satisfying. Oh, you have to play to understand it. When you flank your enemies on locker and get 10 kills with a shotgun, or when you shoot down a helicopter with a tank or a boat, or when you get 80 kills with a tank, or when you win by 1 ticket. Ah, it's hard to put in words. Playing good is extremely rewarding because it usually means that you're helping your team win. I love vehicle gameplay, so this game is perfect for me. Yeah, I also enjoy playing with guns, but it's really good that it switches between the two. Oh, you've just finished a map with 50 kills in a boat? Well, prove your skill in a purely infantry map. Best Battlefield game for me. Period.